the first time, they came up with, by then they had dominance over majority part of India. The kings and all, were weakened. The strength of these royal kingdoms were down. So that time what the British did was, in 1857, there was a revolt, right? You have studied about this, mutiny. So after that mutiny, they said, James Wilson was the governor back then. He said he was going to start collecting taxes from the citizens and for the losses that was caused because of the mutiny. So that was the reason given by him back in 1860. This is what, 160 years ago. But you'll be surprised to know what system he had laid down back then. In fact, even the king's time, what systems were prevalent in India, the basis of these systems are still the same. Okay, the direct tax is what we call is basically the skeleton is the same. The form might have changed, but the skeleton is the same. So form might have changed, but the purpose hasn't. Like Kalidasa mentioned in his book, saying that, boss, we are collecting, the king is collecting taxes not just for fun. He was collecting it to give it back to you. Here also the government is collecting that money to give it back to you in some form. So the government runs because of your taxes. So like you can see the pots, this was a default image, but it made so much sense here. It is like these pots. You might have had the pot, a mud pot, a clay pot, wherein you drink something in that pot. It could be water, it could be juice, it could be something else. The same thing you do with the paper glass also, you do the same thing with the plastic glass also, you do the same thing with any other material glass also. That's the whole purpose, is to drink. Be it the pot, this is like the king's, probably it was clay pot, then you have paper, the plastic, or whatever glasses you have now. The purpose is the same. You have to serve the citizens. You have to serve your subjects. So that is what the form might have changed, but the purpose hasn't. The taxation system is very old. In fact, what you see today, the system is probably 2,300 years old. Just that we've got laws, we've got proper systems in place, processes in place, proper people in place, qualifications are there. But the whole core, the heart of it is almost the same. The point of collecting taxes, the way it is collected, the percentage system on your income, this much we will collect. You saw that shloka from the Manusmriti, which is saying that, you have to collect 1/6, 1/5, 1/4, whatever this rate was. All that is same. So you can say the taxation, what you see right now, is quite matured. The taxation, the whole experience that we have with taxation, especially in India, is like 2,300 years old. It's not like our education system. Our education system we're not used to. This education system is just 130 years old. If you count in 140 years old or something like that, if you count in the British times. Before that, we had Gurukul system. So Gurukul system was the old system. What we study now, this is the newer system. So we don't have the maturity when it comes to our education sector. But when it comes to our taxation sector, we have. Because this has been the system since a very long time. That's why you see there are issues. I'm not saying there are no issues. But grounds are set that this is how it is supposed to be. This is where you are supposed to pay your taxes. This is how you're supposed to calculate this. So it's set. Are you all understanding so far? So I have spoken about history. As I have told you about 4 things, 4 slides we've gone through. Are you listening? Are you all there? Yes. All right. I'm not able to read the messages for some reason, but I hope I am audible. If you could raise your hands, it would be great. All right. Am I audible now? Okay, just put a hi. Is it working? Okay, yes. Right, yes, I can see the chats now. So you've been following what I've been talking about, right? Yes. All right. So I have been telling you about the history of taxes in the country. How it has evolved, and I told you about this. The system is kind of set. It is set system. It is you're used to taxes more than you're used to machines, using machines, or you're used to taxes more than you're used to the education system in India, or anything you take, taxes is kind of evolved over time. It's come through a lot of filters, a lot of times it's seen. But the taxation system has changed, of course. When we go further, it will change even more. You will see a lot of changes coming around you, but the whole skeleton of the system is the same. Okay. Now, let's discuss about today. Let's discuss about the independent India, history and all over. We've understood about, we've seen about what has happened in Kalidasa's time, Manusmriti, all that. Yeah, you're not going to study all that in the future. That's history. But you should know it's very rich. Our history is very, very rich. So you need to know that there was presence of taxes even in the olden days. Now coming to our independent India and what it looks like right now. Okay, so when we talk about the independent India, till 1961, we used to have a law which is passed by the British, and it was only the direct tax law. Before I get there, I'll just tell you about the types of taxes. Okay, first of all, why do we need taxes? What is the point of the taxes? The government of every country requires funding to aid it in carrying out its necessary functions and duties. As I mentioned, that taxes is the only form of revenue or major form of revenue for the government. Around 90% of this total money is raised by the government through taxes in our country. 90%. They don't have any other asset generating income as much as the citizens of the country do. So around 85 to 90% every year they collect through taxes. So if you take that portion out, you can imagine there is nothing left. There will nothing be left. So taxes is important. Be it constructing a highway, be it constructing a public toilet, be it running those KSRTC buses, be it running the RBI, be it running the SEBI, any institution, any governmental institution you take, it is all source of revenue. It is all through the taxes that they collect. Okay, so this is all the money that goes into all this is pumped through the taxes. There are different types of taxes. Different people collect taxes. Different governments collect taxes. Your state government, central government collect. Municipalities collect taxes. But at the end of the day, that garbage collector comes in the morning to your house and collects garbage from your house. What do they charge every month to you? 40 rupees, 50 rupees they charge or something like that they charge. Very minimal. That amount what they charge, do you think is enough for them to collect the garbage, that fuel and all that? It's not. Cleaning the roads, you can see, cleaning the roads, the municipality does that near the bus stands and all in the morning. You see these people with the big jhadoos cleaning the roads and all that. Where does money come from? From where do they pay money to those guys? It's all because of your taxes. You pay taxes, that's how people survive. That's how the government goes forward. So most of the money that the government needs, be it for infrastructure or be it for day-to-day activities, that person will stop coming. Garbage collection will not happen. Cleaning will not happen if there are no taxes. There will be no roads. There will be no government buses. There will be no government schools, no government hospitals, no COVID vaccine, nothing without taxes. So taxes play such a big role in our economy's life. Without taxes, nothing. So obviously the country, the government will take care of this little baby called taxes. Gives a lot of revenue to the government. These include operating public institutions, developing the country's infrastructure, and financing public welfare initiatives and schemes. In exchange for providing these amenities, a government generates the revenue required for them by taxing its citizens. So whatever money you need, it will be collected from you only. Whatever resources you are giving, whatever infrastructure you are using and all that, money is given by you itself with that. To make this process efficient, every country has a proper taxation process laid out by its government. Even our salary paid to politicians, is it paid from our taxes? Obviously, yes, sir. It is from your taxes only. Who will give money otherwise? Whatever they get, it is because of you. So you have a proper process, taxation process laid down. So laid down by the government. The government, tells you how they're going to collect money and all that. So that we're going to discuss now. We're going to study this. So I'm talking very non-technical right now. I'm not at all getting into technical part. I'm talking to you like I'm talking to a third standard kid, right? So we will get into technical stuff, and we will see about how things will work for us and all that. I will start in a while. So please be paying attention. Now, so as I mentioned, tax is the chauffeur of the economy. So without the chauffeur, the car won't go forward. Without taxes, the country will not go forward. It will be where it is, or probably go back. So India, with its wide distribution of income earners and sources of revenue, has a robust system of taxation. It places value in the importance of taxes across the board and makes an important distinction between its major types of taxes. So there are various types of taxes that the government collects. Everywhere you see a revenue source, the government will look to tax it. For example, I'll tell you one example. Till 1994, services weren't taxed. Okay, I will talk about something called as indirect taxes in a while. Services weren't taxed. The Manmohan Singh government, he was the finance minister, P.V. Narasimha Rao's government, saw that as an opportunity and said that we're going to start charging taxes on services. Otherwise, till that day, there was nothing called tax on services. There was tax on manufacturing the goods, sale of goods, goods related, all kind of taxes were there. But till 1994, there were no taxes on services. If you go to a CA, take consultancy, no taxes. If you're going to a coaching class, taking coaching, like you guys do, for foundation, for intermediate, when you take coaching, there would be no service tax, no tax. You just pay the amount, come. But then they saw this as a major opportunity to collect money. Service industry was booming. Be it Infosys, be it tech services, be it these educational services, be it consultancy services, the service sector was going up and up and up. So they said we're going to start taxing the service industry as well. Till then, only goods were taxed. Now you have services also being taxed. So this happened after 1994. So you can imagine the government is always looking for how do we tax stuff. Now you talk about bitcoins, right? Are bitcoins legal in India? Do you think bitcoins are legal in India? Have you heard of bitcoins? Bitcoin? Yes. Is it legal in India? Can you buy and sell Bitcoin in India legally? You can do it illegally, but you can't do it legally. It's illegal. Why do you think it is illegal? It's not recognized. Cryptocurrencies are not recognized. Why do you think it's not recognized? Because the Indian government doesn't know how to tax it. The income from that cryptocurrency is difficult to track and it is difficult to tax. Once they figure out how to tax the cryptocurrency, once they realize how to, look after this Bitcoin, of course, there are security issues also, but the government is concerned more about the income tax part, the tax part rather than the security part. So once they, figure out how we can tax Bitcoins, they will make it legal in India also. There are taxation issues with Bitcoins. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is, the government's main objective with whatever it is will be, if you are earning income from any source, they will want to tax it. They will look to tax it. If they're not able to tax something, they'll make the whole transaction illegal. Like for example, I told you that Bitcoin example. There have been many other things that has happened in the economy before also. So if you're earning income, they will look to tax it. Now coming back to this. So as I mentioned, in India you have major sources of revenue, major income earning avenues for it. So, and the population is what, 1.5 billion, 1.4 billion population we have. So the government has a lot of scope for collecting taxes from the people of India. And it does it in a very robust and a very established system. There are established systems of collecting taxes. So forms of taxes, we have majorly two forms of taxes. One is known as the direct tax and the other one is known as the indirect tax. Can you guess what is direct tax? How does this term direct and indirect, what is the difference between this direct and indirect tax? Any idea? Can someone tell me what is the difference between direct and indirect tax? Direct tax can't be shifted on others, okay. The burden of taxes cannot be shifted on others, okay, correct. That is, yeah, I think it makes sense, but more direct. I want your answer to be more simplistic. Anyone? Can you tell me the major difference between direct and indirect? Okay, no, I'm not asking for examples. Directly paid by the person to the government. Yes, very good, Vaishnavi. That is what I was looking for. Direct tax is something that you pay directly to the government. Indirect tax is something that you don't pay directly to the government. As simple as that. I repeat, direct tax is something that you pay directly to the government. Indirect tax is something that you pay to the government, but indirectly you pay. Not directly, you pay indirectly. Do you guys pay direct taxes? Have you ever paid direct taxes? Have you ever paid direct taxes? Have you ever transferred some money to the government's account for taxes, for the purpose of taxes? Have you ever made a transfer? Okay. Most of you haven't because you never have earned anything. So most of you haven't. But have you guys paid indirect taxes? Do you think you've paid indirect tax? Right, you have, right? You have paid indirect taxes. How much have you paid indirect tax? What is the total of your indirect tax? How much indirect tax have you paid? I tell you, I have paid direct taxes. I can tell you how much direct tax I have paid. Till date, how much direct tax I have paid, I can tell you the number. Kapil Sharma once had told it very infamously in this show, I think once he mentioned something. But can you please tell me the indirect tax amount you paid? So how do we calculate? You pay it every day, right? When you're buying something, you pay indirect tax. When you're making a call, probably you are going to pay some indirect tax. When you're using your internet, when you make that recharge, you pay indirect tax. Indirect tax we all pay when we buy something, when we spend. When we are buying something, when we are spending, we pay it. If you're eating a packet of biscuit, probably on that also you're paying indirect taxes. So yes, on everything you pay indirect tax. When you are taking coaching, when you join your coaching class, you also pay taxes on that. Right? If the coaching fees is say 30,000 rupees, 18% GST will be charged on that, and you will be paying GST also separately. So you pay taxes in every, if you're born in the country, if you're born in India, you will pay taxes right from the diaper that you wear until the walking stick you use. In some form, you are going to pay taxes. You're going to pay some taxes on all these items that you use throughout your life. You go to a restaurant, you eat, you're going to pay GST. So it is something that we all pay. Indirect taxes is something that we all pay. Direct tax is only paid when you start earning. I'll tell you the major difference. As I mentioned, direct tax is something that you pay directly to the government. So you are here and the taxes will be paid by you to the government directly. This is the government. You see those pillars, right? That's the government. So you pay the taxes directly to the government. We sit and calculate how much taxes am I supposed to pay, and I will remit it to the government directly. That is known as the direct tax. And then you have indirect tax. In indirect tax, there is one person in between. There is one business in between generally. So what you will do is you will pay him the amount. That person will pay it to the government. So the amount gets transferred from the person. You pay the taxes to that business. The business will transfer that money to the government. Like this, there are crores of businesses in India collecting taxes from billion of people, 1.5 billion people. These businesses keep collecting taxes from you. So that is why indirect taxes, it's very difficult for you to keep a track how much indirect tax you pay. Because you pay it to multiple parties, multiple businesses, multiple institutions, multiple people. So you don't know how much indirect tax you pay, but government will know how much indirect tax they have collected. They can total up and they can say that this is the indirect tax you have collected in this particular year. But for you to keep a track of all of it, because in every small item, as I mentioned, you pay some indirect tax. Try calculating how much indirect tax you pay in a week. 1 week, you just keep a track. Whatever items you have, whatever things you purchase, whatever you consume, just try to calculate how much indirect tax. Let me remind you, from that cup of tea in the morning that you have, till the soap you use in your bathroom, the bedsheet you are going to put on your bed, the books that you're going to purchase, the food that you're going to eat, the hand wash that you're going to use, the shampoo that you're going to use, the electricity that you're going to use, the water that you're going to use, almost on everything. Probably water is not through taxes directly, but the water tanker, he will have to pay taxes. There will be some taxes on all of these things. The slippers you wear, correct, the clothes you wear, everything you pay taxes. Right? So it's impossible for you to keep a track of how much taxes you have paid in a week. It's not possible. It's very, very difficult. What you will have to end up doing is, if you really want to do it, just wear one pair of clothes for a week. Don't eat only home cooked food. Okay, you pay taxes on the stove, on the gas. Again, you pay taxes. It's very difficult. You'll have to have raw food. So it's very difficult to keep a track of the indirect taxes you pay. But as I mentioned, direct taxes, it's easy. I can tell you how much I'm not going to tell you, but I can tell you, if I want to, how much direct tax I've paid in the last year. Simple. It's easy. Because I know how much I've transferred to the government's account. I transfer it. So I know how much I've transferred. But when it comes to these things, it's difficult to keep a track. Indirect tax, it's difficult to keep a track. So I hope you guys are following all of this. Understanding, artha count, or am I talking to myself? Okay. Right. So this is about direct and indirect taxes. Now let's spend some time on direct taxes alone. Okay, what is direct taxes and all that I'm going to talk about for the next few minutes. In India, we have only one direct tax, and it is governed by the Income Tax Act. Now, one thing which was not mentioned in the slide, but I will just mention what it is. If you want to collect taxes in India, if the government wants to collect taxes in India, it must be backed by a statute. That is what is mentioned in the Constitution. The Constitution mentions that if you want to collect taxes from the citizens of the country, there must be some law, there must be some statute passed in the parliaments. If there are no laws passed in the parliament, I am sorry, you cannot collect any taxes from the citizens. So whatever tax they collect from you must be backed with some law. There must be some act, there must be some statute passed in the parliament. Without that, you can't go and ask people to pay taxes. No. There must be some basis, there must be some constitutional, one act, statutory act, as per which you can collect taxes. The direct taxes, there is only one act today as per which they can collect the direct taxes, and it is known as the income tax. Around 40% of the total inflow, that is cash inflow that the government gets today, is because of income tax. When I say 40%, total inflow, this total inflow includes taxes, includes non-tax revenue, includes the loans also, includes the loans that the government takes from the UN organizations, IMF and all that. So it includes all of that. When I say 40% of total inflow, so every year the government takes around 15-20% of its total inflow as loan. They don't have enough tax collection in the country or other revenue in the country. So what they do is around 15-20%. Indian government takes loan every year from the international organization, from other countries and all that. They keep taking loans. So that total inflow, when you break it up, you will see 40% is through income tax. Now, when I say income tax, it includes corporate taxes also. That is whatever the companies pay. So that is also included in this 40% itself. Just a minute. Yes. So this is around 40% is collected through income tax. So what is exactly income tax? As the name itself says, income tax means tax on your income. Whatever income you earn, on that you have to pay taxes. So that is what income tax means. One second. Yes. So the slide is visible now, right? The Income Tax Act 1961 is the only statute levying direct taxes in India. Till 2015-16, there was also wealth tax. That was also a form of direct tax. So whatever wealth you have, on that wealth you were supposed to pay taxes. It was introduced in the 50s and it was prohibited in 2015-16. After that, it was abolished. There were two direct taxes till 15-16. So wealth tax was also there. Now we have only income tax. So income tax is a major source of revenue to the government, and it is also something that is very popular. You see on your left side, that is an image of an income tax return. I'll also talk about a return. What is a return? I'll talk about that also. That's an income tax return. And I'll tell you your role also as CH tomorrow, what you're going to do in this. As articles in the CA office also, what you're going to do, I'll talk about that as well. Now, categories of income sources on which income tax is levied. So income tax is levied on different types of incomes, okay? It is basically on incomes. Now, when you're talking about incomes, you think, what could be major sources of income for a household? For a person, what could be the major source of income? It could be salaries, his salaries. So that is one source of income for him. House properties, that is, you will have rental, you might have put rental properties, you will have some residential properties, commercial properties. That income you will get, rent income you will get every month. So that could be a source of income. Capital gains. What do you mean by capital gains? Any idea what is capital gain, anyone? What do you mean by capital gain? Capital gain is, no, not just investments. Capital gain means something that you sell, some property you sell and you get. It could be your house. It could be a commercial property, a shop that you own. So if you're selling it, we call it as capital gain. In this, again, we have two types of capital gains, long-term capital gains and short-term capital gains. Yes, Sri Samarth, I can read your messages. So there is something called as long-term capital gains and short-term capital gains. There are different categories under which we will calculate this. Capital gain is basically sale of a capital asset. You know what is a capital asset, right? Studied in accounting. So capital expenditure. So whenever you're selling it, an asset, when you're selling it, whatever income you generate, that is known as income from capital gains. There are two types of capital gains, LTCG and STCG. LTCG is long-term capital gain. STCG is short-term capital gain. More than 3 years if you hold. In general, there are asset classes over there again. For shares, there is one. For building, there is one. So there are different asset classes when we classify it. You'll study all of this, okay? I'm just giving you a brief overview. So that is those asset classes depending on that. But generally, more than 3 years, if you hold an asset, it will become long-term capital gain. If it's lesser than 3 years, it will become short-term capital gain. So whatever income you earn from that, the net income, whatever gains you have made, there's a way to calculate this. We call it as indexation and all that. So I'll not go into depth of all of it. Full direct tax I will be teaching if I sit and discuss the small things with you right now. But you will learn when you're studying direct taxes, it will be explained to you. So the income from the sale of such assets also is taxed. Okay, that is also a source of income and we tax it. And income from other sources. When we're talking about other sources, before that you'll have to look at business or profession, that is profits from your business or profession we will see. And then other sources. Other sources means you will have gifts. People will gift you something. That is also your income. We will tax that also. You're getting married, you receive a gift. That's not taxed. That's specifically exempted. Marriage gifts are exempted. There are some specific gifts which have been exempted, but some of the gifts, yes, example lottery you go for games like KBC, you win some amount. So all that is winning in a contest, correct? So all that is income from other sources. That all will come under income from other sources. And then you have income from business or profession. I earn from my practice, I'll have to pay taxes on that from income from business or profession. We call this as PGBP, profits or gains from business and professions, we call it PGBP, profits or gains from business or profession. So PGBP income we say, very commonly we screen PGBP. So that is also taxed separately. For example, I teach, now whatever I'm teaching, sessions, whatever classes I take, whatever seminars I do, I put it under the 5th category you see on your screen. That is my income from business or profession. I'm not salaried anywhere. That's not my salary income. I show it for taxation under the 5th category, income from business or profession. I have rental properties. If I have any rental properties, then I will show it under income from house properties if I'm receiving any rent. If I'm selling something, for example, shares, if I'm selling the shares and earning money, then I'll show it under capital gains. Or if I'm selling my motor vehicle, I'll show it under capital gains. If I receive interest on FD, or if I receive some dividends and all that, it will come under income from other sources. It will come under income from other sources. I'll show it under other sources. So every income, every possible income is taxed. Every possible income comes under some of these categories. One of these categories only bitte. If nothing is there, other sources will tell you. So other sources will be built to them. Now specifically, there are some exemptions in income tax. For example, agricultural income. Although it will come under income from business or profession, but they have said the constitution itself has clearly mentioned, boss, in independent India, no taxing agriculture. Agriculture tax like law. So that is why income from agriculture is always exempt. Section 10 of the Income Tax Act specifically mentions that you are not supposed to tax it. Then trust and all, you will have these trust, charitable trusts, you will have temple trusts, educational trusts. For them also no taxes. There are many exemptions like this. Many exemptions like this, for which there are no taxes. Taxes because for the purpose they're doing they're serving a purpose. That is why we're not going to tax it. But all kinds of income, if it's an income, not settlement amounts, income, then we will tax it under any of these heads. Are you following? So this is about the different types of taxes, direct taxes I'm talking about. So can you tell me which act governs all this? Which act governs all this? Do you think there are separate acts for all of this? No, there's only one single act. What is that act? Income Tax Act 1961. Okay, so Income Tax Act 1961 governs all this. These are all governed by section numbers. You will have section 32 to section 45 or 46 talking about income from business or profession. You will have in section 45 talking about other sources, 54 capital gains, 28, because you have different tax section numbers. Those section numbers govern, those provisions govern these particular part. Okay, different heads of incomes will be governed by those sections itself. So how many heads of income? These are known as heads of income. How many heads of income do we have as per the Income Tax Act? There are 5 heads. There are 5 heads of income as per the Income Tax Act. So you will be taxed, whatever income you earn may be taxed under any of these 5 heads. All right. Now, who does these rules? Who collects the money from us? Do we pay directly to the government, or is there some governmental agency in between to whom we have to pay? Yes, there is a body called Income Tax Department. It comes under the Ministry of Finance. It is a governmental body. It is not some organization. It's an agency. Just like how government investigates into cases through CBI, or how they look at the monetary policies through the RBI, or enforcement directorates for investigations, for big investigations. You will have EDs coming in. How you have the army protecting the Indian borders? How do you have the navy looking after the seas of the country? Like that only for income tax related stuff, there is one agency. This is one agency called Income Tax Department. This reports to the Finance Ministry. Finance Ministry looks after this because it is money. So Finance Ministry looks after taxation. The Income Tax Department is a government agency undertaking direct tax collection of the government of India. It functions under the Department of Revenue of the Ministry of Finance. So under the Ministry of Finance, there is a Department of Revenue which takes care of the income taxes. And whatever rules you have, the collections that happen, you have to, whatever interactions you do with the government with relation to taxes is all with the Income Tax Department. The Income Tax Department is the face of the government when it comes to the income taxes. They manage the website of the government with relation to income taxes. Everything is looked after by the Income Tax Department. Okay, IRS, IRS, right? IRS officers looking after these this agency majorly. That is Indian Revenue Services, just like how you have IAS. So like that when you have IRS. So IRS officers will be there in this agency. And even the other administrative service agents might be there. People might be there in this department. It's a very robust, and it is also a very old department when it comes to the country. It is one of the established organizations, and all the interactions happen with the citizens with relation to income tax through this particular department itself. Now, laws governing income tax in India. What are the different laws? I told you there is only one Income Tax Act, but in addition to this, you have rules, income tax rules we have. And in addition to that, every year amendments happen, right? Every year changes happen. You might see this in the newspapers and all. So far, you were looking at it till last year. You're looking at the newspapers, they put which has gone down, nice graphic charts they do, right? In the newspapers on Feb 2, Feb 3, generally, they say, now sandals are cheaper, TVs are expensive, and all that. That is done through the annual budget, through the financial budgets they do. In that budget itself, they also talk about amendments in the Income Tax Act. What are the changes in the Income Tax Act? Different tax rates will be changed. So whatever laws relating to the income tax and all are there is also changed by the Finance Ministry. That's why the Finance Minister is presenting it. She might change some rules, some regulations with relation to the income tax also. From this year, the way you look at the newspapers on the budget day is going to be slightly different. Okay, you should look at intricacies. Income Tax Act will change too. How is it going to impact? Although you will not understand much. Obviously, you will not understand Talibuda Artha at times, but that is fine. The interest is important. The intent is important. Show that interest. Ask questions. See if your parents are earning money and paying income taxes. Just calculate how much income tax did they pay last year and how much are they going to pay after the budget. If they are paying income tax, just calculate. You only see once how much taxes they have paid. Under which head are they paying taxes? You know now how many heads are there? 5 heads are there. So you see under which head they are paying taxes. How much tax rate are they paying? Which section is applicable for them of the Income Tax Act? Show this little interest. You will not understand much, but that intent, right, that will take you a long way. See, once the income tax, the budget will come next week. We're just 1 week away, 1st of February. It used to be 28th of February till 2016. From the colonial periods, it was 28th February. Last day of February, 28th or 29th. The government is to present the budget. Narendra Modi changed that, okay, in 2016. He said, we're not going to follow that. That's colonial era. We are going to change it. And we will get more time for getting things ready for the next financial year. We will get 2 months now. Otherwise, you used to get only 1 month to get ready for the next financial year. Now we will have 2 months because there are budgets, other things also we have to get ready. So we will prepone it to 1st of February. Now every year, since 2016, every year, the budget is presented on 1st of February. And also, this is something that is not related, but still, they used to carry a briefcase, right? Briefcase. I'm sure you have noticed budget briefcase. Since last year, that system was also gone. Now they don't carry a budget briefcase. That's again a colonial system. Okay, it is a colonial system. Now they use something called as bahikata. Bahikata it's like an Indian tradition. It's just like a bag and it's just a cloth piece covering the documents. So, that system also has changed now. These are all 100-year-old systems being changed, okay? It is not something new. It was there even before independence, this was the system. Now it's changing. So, one is budget dates have changed. It's 1st February now. Second one, they don't carry a briefcase anymore. Nirmala Sitharaman will not carry a briefcase this year. She'll carry one cloth wrapped, red cloth wrapped papers. She'll carry that and go. Notice these things in the pictures, okay? Right. So this is the changes that have happened. And the laws also will change. As I mentioned, I have a task for you this time. The task is you have to look at the impact on your family income or impact on your parents' income or your cousin's income, anyone, your brother's income, anyone who's earning, anyone who's paying income tax, just have a look and see how it changes things for them. That will add on a lot of inputs for yourself. So that was about income tax very briefly. I just told you some brief points about income tax. Now there are other things also. For example, there's something called as international taxation. There's something called as transfer pricing. There's something called as in international taxation, NRI taxation. So there's a concept of TDS. So I haven't gone into depth of all those topics because we are limited by time, and also those are proper chapters which you'll be studying in your intermediate syllabus. But there are a lot of other small concepts. I wanted to put that quote, but I did not want to scare you, so I did not put that quote. Einstein had once told, Einstein was bad with 2 things. He was a genius with science. He was great with a lot of things, but he was bad at 2 things. One, because he says, he says, income tax is the hardest thing to understand in the world. It's the hardest thing. This is the actual quote. I'm not making this up. You can just Google it up and you can check. You just put Einstein taxes. You'll get one very nice quote from him. You'll understand what is income tax through that. He says income tax is the hardest thing in the world. There is nothing harder than income tax. We're talking about a scientist who has done such great inventions saying this. Second thing he was bad at was stock markets. The ones who know stock markets, who are in stock markets, will know the Einstein stock market stories also. So the hardest thing in the world to understand is the income tax. Yes, that is the actual quote from him. So he was bad at 2 things. One was income tax and the other one was stock markets. And the good news for you was You could be good at both of those things which Einstein was not good at. Okay, you could kind of get a hold better than him uh, in both of these things, which he found it hard. But you're like, I'm better than Einstein when it comes to income tax and the stock markets. You can have this cool bio on your Instagram. I just gave you a bio. Don't put it now. Put once you become experts. Okay. Or your caption for any picture. Yeah, the Einstein on taxes, the hardest thing in the world to understand is the income tax. That was his quote. Correct. Right. Feel good ways. Even if you don't invent anything, you always say I was better than Einstein at these two things. Right. Now coming back to the discussion. So that is about direct taxes. Do you have any questions on direct taxes? Don't ask me, sir, what is what and all that small things. You don't ask me because I told you we'll study that as chapters. If you have any macro picture questions, I know it's difficult to change, but yeah, you ask me whatever questions you have, I'll decide. Any questions about direct taxes, about how it works, who looks after it? I've explained different things, but I'm sure you're curious and you'll have some questions on when you hear it for the first time, you will have some questions, some queries. I've been getting some queries, but I have missed some of this. Could you please put it again, or if you have any questions? What is it in case of HUF? There is a concept of HUF in income tax. So, so HUF is basically, an Hindu undivided family. This concept is very specific to the Indian context, because here you have family-run businesses. Now that HUF concept has come down a lot, but before I have a friend. Okay, I have a friend. His family was the biggest HUF in the state. 52 people were registered under that HUF. So Hindu undivided family. You had these joint family concept in India, right? Before, now it's not there. It's gone almost. So basically, there will be a karta in the HUF. So he will be taxed. The whole HUF won't be taxed. He will be treated as an individual. It was like that. The whole family is taken as one. So that concept is almost gone now. Yes, co-partners, correct. Who pay the highest? Okay, that we will have to check. Who pays the highest taxes in India? I knew this. I don't know that. You're asking me these questions. Okay. What is it in case of? Okay, done. That was why does the government tax on earning and as well as on spending also? It's like double time taxes. Yes, it's just to increase the revenue. It's on different purposes. When it comes to income, it is on the source of income. The point of taxation is different. So whenever we're talking about a tax law, okay, we're talking about something called as taxable event. If you want to tax something, there must be something called as taxable event. Now, when it is in direct taxes, when it is a direct tax, the taxable event is you earning the income. So as soon as you start earning, that is a taxable event. You will pay taxes. If it is indirect tax, say GST, whenever you are selling something, buying something, GST may become payable. When you are earning income tax may become payable. You used to have something called as excise duty before. So as soon as you manufacture something, excise was on manufacturing. So as soon as you manufacture something, the taxable event there was manufacture. So you manufacture something, you will have to pay taxes. I mean, you might have to pay taxes. Not you will, you might have to pay tax. You'll have to check. So that is how the tax laws work. The taxable events are different. It is not the same taxable event. The taxable event for each taxation regime is different. For income tax, it is for income tax. What did I tell you? What is the taxable event for income tax? It is earning of an income. So you earn income, you might have to pay some taxes. That's how it works. Okay. You might have to. I'm not saying you will pay taxes. It will depend, because there will be exemptions. There will be some points saying that you don't have to pay taxes until this amount. For example, when you're earning income up till 2.5 lakhs or 3 lakhs of this year, 5 lakhs, you don't have to pay taxes. So there will be some limit. There will be some exemption limits. Some slab will be there. Something which will stop you from not paying taxes. You don't have to pay taxes. But you might have to pay taxes. You look at the income tax applicable if you're earning income. So this is the taxable event. For GST, GST is an indirect tax. I'll talk about this. The taxable event GST is when you sell or provide. We use the term supply, okay? Because I am going to teach you GST, let me use the right terms. Supply of goods or services. This is the tax event for GST. So as soon as you supply any goods or service, you might have to pay GST. GST laws might become applicable to you. So every time there is this is the trigger point, right? Taxable event is nothing but the trigger point. So you trigger this, the law becomes applicable. Right? So like this, you used to have something called as excise duty before. In excise duty, the trigger point was manufacture. You manufacture something, there will be excise duty. So these are trigger points. So for every tax law, there is some trigger point. Now coming back to this, let's discuss about any more questions. I was taking questions, right? So are all the government servants and ministers paid out of taxes that are paid? Yes. See, at the end of the day, whatever, if you want to spend something, let's say your household is spending some money. You're spending some money. It should come from somewhere, no? In your house, you're buying groceries, you're buying a TV, you're buying some jewelry for yourself, you're buying a car. This money should come from somewhere. It won't fly, it won't come, from some plant or not. It will have to come from some source. And what I'm trying to tell you is around 75% to 80% of the source is through taxes. Some 5 to 10% is through non-tax revenue. Then some 10 to 15 or maybe more sometimes is through loans. Government takes loans. So to make that spending, they need to get this money. So this money is collected from these sources. Around 75 to 80% of the total inflow. When I'm saying inflow, not just revenue, including the loans, comes from the taxes part. I had that chart put, I think I've not shown that here. If you want, I'll show it later. So, around 75 to 80% of the tax revenue, of the total money comes from taxes to the government. So whatever money you're paying outside, obviously it will be dependent. You can talk about government servants, you can talk, they don't sit and divide, am I paying from taxes? But the expenditure happens through the income. So the income major source is taxes. So obviously you pay to the government servants also, you pay to the roads also, you pay taxes. And through that only the money is spent. To spend something you need the source, no? And the source is majorly taxes is what I'm trying to tell you. After independence and before 1961, was there another law? Yes, there was one law which is passed by the British and it was in force in India for 14 years till 1961 Act became applicable. It was an act from 1921 or something, 20s. Somewhere in 20s they had made one act applicable, Income Tax Act it was. So that was in play for a very long time. Okay. Till 1961, it was a British law which they had made applicable even for the independent India. And then they changed it. In 1961, we had our own Income Tax Act. Yes, I will talk about that. That will be next. Okay. Indirect tax related doubts, you save it for later. Now, indirect taxes. Shall we talk about indirect taxes? Are you finding this interesting or are you bored or How is it? Give me a quick feedback. Okay. I will talk about octroi and all. Wait, patience. Okay. Let's go forward. Now, indirect taxes. When it comes to indirect taxes, we have different types of taxes. I was making this presentation, say, 4 back. Indirect taxes, I would take hours to say what is indirect tax because there were so many types of taxes in India. Now, since July 1, 2017, they have made it easier. Easier within quotes. This is arguable. People will, especially in times like this, because you are supposed to file the GST return. Now people are screaming, chartered accountants are screaming that it is not easy. So take us back to the older times. You will have people saying this also. But the whole purpose of GST was to make it easier, make it simpler. But there are some implementational issues. There are some problems, but that is always there. No, when you get something new, the issues will be there. If you're getting a new education policy also tomorrow, there will be problems. It's about how the government handles it. So far, I don't think they've been very successful in handling the issues relating to GST very effectively, but that will soon be sorted. But coming back to this, you have types of indirect taxes, majorly GST, customs duty, excise duty on some items, and state VAT. I'll talk about each of these things. GST I'll keep for a little later. Customs duty is basically on imports and exports. So when you're purchasing something, when you're importing something, let's say you want to buy a nice car, you want to import a Ferrari from say where, US or Germany or from anywhere you want to buy a nice car. So when you're buying this car, if the price of that car is 1 crore, 1 CR, you will have to pay some customs duty on that. So whenever the trigger point in customs duty is, as per customs law, the taxable event is import or export. So whenever you're importing or exporting something, you will have to pay customs duty. Okay. So this is specifically with regards to the imports and exports. It is still in picture. Customs duty hasn't been changed. No changes have happened with the customs law. It's still the same. So you will find these customs officers in the airports, in the, if you're coming by ship and all, there will be customs officers everywhere with this law, customs duty. So this you will study in your CA final syllabus. Customs law you study over there, not before that. So this is about imports and exports and all that. There are different rates. There are different duties. Under customs duty also you have different duties serving different purposes. There's something called as the anti-dumping duty, safeguard duties. There are a lot of duties even under customs, which we'll study in detail in CA finals. But just understand right now that this is about imports and exports. Customs duty is basically on imports and exports. Then you have excise duty. Excise duty was very big 4 years back. Right now it's very small, but it still contributes around 8% of the total inflow to the government, around 8%. And on which can tell me through which they collect excise duty? Anyone can tell me? Right now, the government collects excise duty from you on one major item. Which is that item on which you pay excise duty even today? Let us see how good your general knowledge is. Don't Google, no Googling, no Googling. On fuel, on petrol, on diesel, okay, and alcohol, correct, for human consumption. So whatever alcohol you drink and that you put for your bill, on that, what the government collects is excise duty today. That hasn't been brought under the GST purview because it is a major source of revenue for the government. So that is still under the old laws. I will talk about all that when I start with the GST classes also for you. I will talk about all that, how the old laws are there, on what items you have the old laws, on what items you have the new law. So I'll talk about all that. But some of the items are still under excise duty. Before, every product was under excise duty, whichever was being manufactured. Excise duty was applicable on manufacturing. So you manufacture a mobile phone, excise duty is payable. Right now, no. Right now, GST on supply. On manufacturing, no duty today. Only on petrol and alcohol, you have excise duty. Otherwise, no excise duty in today's day. Before, on every item, you manufacture the phone, you manufacture the mobile cover, you manufacture the water bottle, you manufacture your laptop, iPad, whatever you're talking about, there was excise duty before. Now, no. Excise duty is not applicable right now. Okay, there was some, the problem with excise duty, I will tell you. Why was excise duty? There were some funny cases in excise duty. For example, there was one case of this tarpaulin. You know tarpaulin, right? Tarpaulin means turple. Turple anta heltevalla now. Blue color the sheets bರ್ತದೆ ನೋಡಿ. That is known as tarpaulin. So there was one funny case law. Not funny. These were the issues under the old laws. That is why GST came in. The problem was there was one company. What they used to do was our wholesale ಅಲ್ಲಿ ದೊಡ್ಡ turtle purchase ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. Meters of turtle they used to purchase. Then they used to take a scissor and they used to cut. Turtle ಅನ್ನು cut ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು ಅವರು. And they used to stitch. ಅದನ್ನು ಸ್ಟಿಚ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು. They used to stitch, turtle stitch ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು and they used to sell it. Now the question was, a cut ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು and a stitch ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು, is it manufactured? Excise duty applicable ಆಗ್ತದ ಅದರ ಮೇಲೆ? Was the question. Imagine how much time we had to waste. These were the cases. Not just that, there was one case. You get the containers. When you go to a hotel and you order something, container ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿ food ಹಾಕಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. They'll put some food in the container and all, and they'll parcel ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ container. If you have noticed, on those containers, a hotel is ಹೆಸರಿರ್ತದೆ. The hotel's name will be printed on that white container. Generally, it's white color boxes. There was one case law relating to those boxes. The case law was, there was a company, what they were doing was, they were buying these white boxes and they were doing the printing job. Printing ಮಾಡೋದಿತ್ತು. They used to print the names of the hotels and different businesses on that white box. And they used to write. Now the question is, print ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ, is that manufacturing? Is that manufacturing? Is excise duty applicable? Like this, many questions. Still, Supreme Court, 15 ವರ್ಷ taking these cases, they have suffered in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇತ್ತಿದೆಲ್ಲ. Then there are many laws, many case laws like this I can quote. One more involving the McDonald's. You have heard about McDonald's, right? In McDonald's, you get one cone. You are the younger generation. You know what that cone called? I forgot the name. What is that cone called? You get ice cream. Ice cream basically. What is the McDonald's ice cream called? Anyone? You get one softie, softie kind of a thing. They have a specific name for it. Anyone knows the name of that product? So there was one case relating to that product. The case was, under excise duty law, there were different tax rates. For dairy products, there was one tax rate. For ice cream, there was one tax rate. For different products, different tax rates were there. So, for, I don't know the exact rates, I don't remember, but say for ice cream it was 12%. For other dairy products, it was 5%. I think it was exactly the same rate. 12% for ice cream products and McFlurry, correct. It was known as McFlurry. So they used to have this McFlurry, correct. You're right, so many people, okay. So that McFlurry, I told you the rates. The rates 12% for ice cream. For other dairy products, 5%. Other dairy product is something that doesn't fit in any other category. It is other dairy product. You know what McDonald's said was, this is not ice cream. This is other dairy product. Okay, they're saying this is not ice cream. We're not going to pay taxes at 12%. We're going to pay taxes at 5%. Excise duty 5% pay matter, not 12%. They were arguing. They were saying that this is not ice cream. Ice cream alla idu. ingredients are different, name is different. We don't call this ice cream, we call this flurry, and this is not ice cream. This is other dairy product. And they also had the ingredients and specifications, and they said, you know, ice cream you do hakbeku, this much yeast you have to put, this much this you have to put. We don't put all that. This is a little different. They were arguing like taking, and they were saying I person. This went to the Supreme Court. A judge sitting over there has to decide if McFlurry is an ice cream or not. Okay, supposed to decide whether it's ice cream or not. And he decided it was an ice cream. Okay, he decided it was an ice cream, and the reading is also very funny of that verdict. What he said was, you call it whatever you want. You call it McFlurry, you call it, pizza, you call it whatever you want to. You know, you have ideals giving pizza, whatever you call it. But at the end of the day, it is ice cream. People look at it as ice cream. It is a replacement for the ice cream. So the taxes also you have to pay is at 12%. So this was correct. Parachute also, cooking oil and normal oil. There was a case law. So there was a lot of case laws like this. Even there is one funny case law with regards to this was in a small court. I think it was not in the Supreme Court, not even in a high court. But there was a case with regards to chappal, slipper. The flip flops. You have heard about flip flops, right? These Nikes and all come with flip flops. It is like a slipper. You know what also happened in India was before people used to not wear chappals at all. People were not used to wearing slippers. In fact, in 1952, I think, everybody wanted to play football World Cup without shoes. They wanted to play barefoot in 50s, 1956 or 52. In one of the only one World Cup, we had an opportunity to play football, and it was then. Because of World War and all, we got a chance to play. These guys were insisting that we were going to play barefooted. We don't want to play football with shoes. So Indians were not used to wearing shoes at all. But as hygiene, mat hygiene, right? Otherwise, you will get hurt, seizures, that will come. So the government started. Hello, am I audible? I'm sorry for that. Am I audible? Yes. Okay. So till where did you hear? Till where did you hear? So basically, they stop. Wear slippers you wear is what they said, and they said excise duty won't be charged on slippers. On slippers, there won't be excise duty. If you remember or if you have seen, you have those white colored slippers with blue color straps, right? We call it as toilet slippers or something. So those white colored slippers with blue color strap, rubber it will be like rubber. You used to get it for like 30 rupees. Even now you get it for very cheap. So they started promoting, there will be noise when you walk. Hawaii, correct. So they were promoting that, and on those slippers, they were tax-free. Sandals, belt sandals, and all were taxed, but those slippers weren't taxed. Now, when this flip-flops idea came into the country, these flip-flops are what? Same toilet slippers only, but with cool colors, cool text over it and all that. They started saying that this is also slipper. And they started selling it at 500, 700, 1,000, 2,000 rupees and all. Adidas flip-flops and all are so expensive if you check out. And they said these are slippers and we're not going to charge any tax. No tax on this. This is also tax-free because this is also slipper. It looks the same. The colors are different. That is all. But the court said it was a local court or it was an authority from the income tax department itself said that, sir, no, there is difference. Just the way it looks, you can't see. The purpose also, you have to see. The price also you're quoting, you have to see. You get that slipper for 50 rupees. You can't make the same law applicable even for your flip flops, which is a luxury, more like a luxury item, and you can't say it's tax free. So the purpose of that exemption also you have to see. So they used to fight for these small things, yeah, and used to waste a lot of time. A lot of time they used to waste on all of these things. So that is why the government said, I can go on and on about these case laws. Every time I say something, I remember one new silly case law. So, so there were so many things like this under the excise law specifically. What is manufactured, what is not, which item, what percentage should be put, and all these issues were there. Now, when you get GST, it's simple. There's no issue. Supply ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ tax. And in that also we have specific items. E item ಎಷ್ಟು percentage ಅಂತ ಉಂಟು. The problem has been solved to a great extent. There the issue was with the word manufactured. ಕೆಲವೆಲ್ಲ manufacture ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಮಾಡುವುದಿಲ್ವಾ, that was the whole issue. For manufactured, there were big definitions. What is manufactured? Big case laws for manufacture. You on the definition ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕಾಗ್ತಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. Just looking at the act was not enough. If you wanted to know what is manufactured, you have to sit and read the case laws to understand what is manufactured. Now GST, no nonsense. Supply is a taxable event. You give this to someone, that is supply over. Then you see if it's applicable or not. There are other conditions, but taxable event, no nonsense. Supply is a taxable event under GST. So this, that was solved through the GST. But there are other issues in GST. GST is not issue free. GST also has problems. We'll talk about that. Then you have state VAT. VAT, what does VAT stand for? Anyone? What is the full form of VAT? VAT, anyone? Value added tax. Very good. VAT stands for value added tax. Why is it called that? I will teach you, I will tell you when I discuss GST. I'll discuss Madhu. I will come for GST classes. There I will discuss about value added taxation. How does that principle work? Where did it origin? How does it work? All that discussion I will do. But it's basically sales tax. They can now sales tax at the health. We used to call this as sales tax as well. The state government used to charge this sales tax. Okay. So, other under kuda taxes collect ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು. Now also state VAT is applicable on select goods. For example, on tobacco products, on alcohol, on petroleum products, state VAT is applicable. Okay, state sales tax is still applicable on these select products. Not all the products, only for certain products there is state VAT. Then there are other taxes also. Other taxes means you have, someone is asking me about octroi. What is octroi? Octroi means tax. Abolished now. In India, no entry taxes since 2017. Ever since GST came into picture, it replaced so many taxes, It replaced excise duty on various goods. It replaced sales tax on various goods. When I say various, almost all the goods except for 2 or 3 products. On all the goods it replaced, GST replaced. And also entertainment tax and town tax. Entertainment tax is when you go watch a movie, right? You will pay some entertainment tax. That was also, it was state levied before. There is one more entertainment tax, it's the municipality levies. These sanda circus, you will have these circus, you will have these, those amusement parks and all you will have. So exhibitions and all. On that, yes, on that, the municipality will levy entertainment tax. That is still there. Our entertainment tax too, but the state government used to levy some entertainment tax on the movies and all. That is gone. When you used to enter a multiplex and all, you used to pay some entertainment tax. That is not there anymore. But the municipality still has a right to levy entertainment taxes on these local exhibitions and utsavas, as you call it. On that, the municipality, if it wants, it can levy taxes. Correct. Melas. Then you have other taxes, as I was talking about, octroi, entry taxes. Before, how it used to happen is, one state in the ಇನ್ನೊಂದು state when you're taking goods, entry tax ಅಂತ charge ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು. Even municipalities had a right in some cases to charge taxes. So all this is gone now. It's not there. Then you used to have advertisement taxes. That is also gone. State levy taxes. You see those billboards and all, no? ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಮುಂಚೆ advertisement tax ಅಂತ state government collect ಮಾಡ್ತಿತ್ತು. That is gone now. It is not there. Then you have luxury tax ಅಂತ ಇತ್ತು. On certain products, if you are buying expensive products, on that you had something called as luxury tax. Not there. Then you have there's some taxes which are still there. For example, road tax. Road tax is still there. You will have to pay road taxes. Yes, it's because of custom duties. Yes, custom duties play a very important role in increasing the prices of the products. It plays a very major role. Correct. So this is about types of indirect taxes. Whatever other indirect taxes it all comes under indirect tax. The beauty of indirect taxes, you don't know how much indirect tax you pay. That's why the government loves indirect taxes. Government is absolutely in love with this kind of system because people don't know how much they are paying at all. So they don't care. Even if you increase 5% more, they will not get to know much unless they read in the newspaper or someone tells them. They will not keep a track of how much taxes they pay as such. There is no direct pinch on the consumer. Direct tax, I know, my heart sinks when I have to transfer 50,000 rupees to the government's account. My heart sinks. In lump sum, you have to transfer 50,000, 1 lakh rupees to the government. Imagine you sell a property for 50 lakhs and you have to pay 30% tax. Your heart sinks. You will feel bad, right? But when you're buying something, if it is inclusive of taxes, you don't even know how much you're paying. When I bought my iPad, I paid some 60,000 rupees, let us say. I paid taxes. I don't know how much tax I paid at that point of time. When I bought a phone, I paid some taxes. I don't know how much taxes I paid. When I bought a car, I saw the on-road price and I paid it. And that some 20% goes to the government. I don't even know what that amount is. I don't even complain. But it is more than the income tax that I pay. But still I don't complain because it is indirect tax. I don't get to know the pinch directly. Of course, I can have a look and I can say, okay, this is the road tax I paid. This is how much I paid towards this and all that. But it still doesn't stay in your mind like income tax. Income tax because you transfer. That entry you can see in your passbook. Government transfer agada ishto amount. So that kind of pinches. That's direct pinch, the indirect pinch. And the government also is slowly shifting towards this more than the direct taxes. Even lately, the corporate taxes have been reduced, by a huge margin. It was 35% and all before. Now they have got it under 25. So they are reducing the percentage of taxes on the companies also. Corporate taxes also are becoming they're reducing the tax rates also. They're doing very well with regards to income tax reduction. They're making people happy. In fact, this year, you can expect people to be more happier because of the income tax, because they have increased their tax revenue through the GST. GST has done a very big favor to the government when it comes to indirect tax collection. So they are getting happier in this phase or this particular form of tax. They're collecting a lot of money. So direct tax they will reduce because that makes people happy. Although there is very little gain over there, people don't understand that. But people are happy. People say, "Oh, none income tax come this year I'm not paying income taxes." People are very happy. They have no idea that service tax, coachingly, you used to pay 15% under the service tax regime. Now you pay 18% on services. You pay 3% more. Okay, when we are giving consultancy, before 15% it was under the service tax regime. 14 plus 1, 14% was service tax, 1% was cess. So now we collect 18% tax. So it has gone up by 3%. This no one actually has a look at carefully, because when you pay it, it's just what 3% of your fees is how much? It's very little. You don't give so much attention towards it. But when it comes to that income tax, because you have to calculate and you have to pay to the government, you are very careful. That is why the government likes indirect taxes, because they won't complain. People won't complain. You will not say, this political party is charging more taxes and all that. You will be happy. They're making you happy. They're saying income tax kadme maartara. So as CA students who know technical stuff, you should never get fooled by all those things. You should say, boss, income tax kadme maartadri, but here there is something called as indirect tax. I'm aware of that also. There we will see how much more you've collected. So, that is how things work. So you have to No, both of these things. You can't look at the small, narrow-minded stuff, saying that income tax cut to make it, be happy. Of course, that's important as well. They have to reduce income taxes also, but at the same time, you have to have a tab on your indirect tax outflows also. Okay, so as I was mentioning, major shift in our economy came in 2017 when GST was made applicable. Okay, so it was pitched in as one nation, one tax, one market. So they made everything nationalized and they started looking at the country as a whole. Unlike before what used to happen is there used to be now also you see petroleum products. You go to Goa. The other day I was in Goa. The petrol is 81 rupees. You come to Karnataka, like 10 kilometers away, you get Karnataka and Goa. The petrol bunks in both the boundaries. You enter Karnataka, 87 rupees. There 81, here 87. 81, 87. 6 rupees difference. Why the 6 rupees difference? Because it is under the old regime. Excise duty and VAT untal. VAT makes a difference. Goa VAT is lesser than Karnataka VAT. Karnataka VAT is higher on petroleum products. So that is why that makes a difference. 6 rupees is because of that. Once it comes under GST, if petroleum product comes under GST, like in the case of cars and all that now, cars were under VAT before. That is why you used to get cheaper cars somewhere else. Now it's not like that. It is under GST. If petroleum product also comes under GST, you will have the same pricing for that product all over the country. If they say 20% or 18% or 15% or whatever rate they say on petroleum, it will be the same petrol rate everywhere. Goa could 83, Karnataka also 83. If they make it GST, if they get it under GST. Right now it is not. That is why the price difference. That is why in one state you get petrol at one price, different prices you have because it's under the old regime. Once it comes under GST, it's one rate all over the country, including Jammu Kashmir. So Jammu Kashmir was treated as a different person, differently altogether, but GST doesn't make that distinction. Under GST, even Jammu and Kashmir is in. Before there was no service tax in Jammu and Kashmir. Service tax applicable Madar law in Jammu and Kashmir. So whole of the country, all the states had service tax except for Jammu and Kashmir. So there was some partiality towards Jammu and Kashmir, just impressing those people in Jammu and Kashmir. But now, no. It's the same law. GST law is applicable to the whole of the country. And it is also one single indirect tax, one major indirect tax. Of course, there is custom and there is excise. There is VAT on certain products. But it has replaced, GST has replaced a whole lot of taxes. At least 10 to 12 type of major taxes have been replaced. That's why I told you, if it was 5 years back, if you had asked me to talk about indirect taxes, I would have to sit and talk about entertainment tax to you. I would have to talk about excise duty to you in detail. Now excise duty is there only on petroleum product and alcohol. Very simple. Only two products. Before excise duty was there on all the products. Whatever you manufacture, I told you I had to discuss about this case laws, cutting using the scissor. Is it manufactured or not? I should sit and talk. Now no tension. Now supply. GST. We will talk about GST in the sessions. So this GST has replaced a lot of things, but I told you there are issues under GST, especially when it comes to supply of information from our part to the government. Information exchange unto. There's something called as information exchange between the taxpayer and the government. So that happens through something called as returns. Returns, RETURNS. So you give details to those returns and you give details to the government. So there are issues with that information exchange basically and administrative issues. So there are some problems with GST and also the tech part. Everything is through technology now. Payments that do, information code that do, registration. Everything happens through technology, internet. So there are issues with regards to their servers. You know how infrastructure, technological infrastructure, how advanced we are. You know, banking hogi, QL into servers down and Disha. So we know, how what issues we will have. So under the issues, even in GST portal, GST technology, there are issues with that. But otherwise, it has made life a lot more easier, especially when it comes to calculation of taxes and lesser tax rates. Number of rates are also very less, 28%, 18%, 12, 9, 5, 1. Of course, I know it is a lot of tax rates, but it's still much lesser. And most of the goods are covered under the 18% bracket. Most of the goods, around 60 to 70% of the goods and services. Services all 18%. Services all 18%, except for restaurant service. Restaurant service 5%. So all the tax rates are simple. Service is 18%. Coaching service only, consultancy service only 18%. Goods also, most of it under 18%. Some luxury products are under 28%. Some goods are at 5%. Some of them are tax free. Agriculture products are tax free. You buy rice, you buy sugar, tax free. So some of these things are under 0 rate, 1% minimum. Kellow tax rates, but less confusion compared to the old tax laws. No, restaurants charge 5% taxes on packaged products. They charge 9 plus 9. Otherwise, they charge 2.5 plus 2.5. So this is about, on service part, there are different schemes also for the restaurants. I'll talk about all that when we go into GST discussion. We'll go, there's something called as composition scheme and all that. Discuss about all that. GST LD, I will take care of all that. So this is about GST. Now, issues in the taxation system. We'll finish this and then discuss about role of CAs and all that. As we know, complicated tax structure, what Einstein said, just remind yourself that he was very true. But because it's complicated, my next slide will become interesting. But complicated tax structure, frequent amendments, keeps changing. GST and keeps changing. There have been around 2,000, 1,800 or something, 2,000 amendments since 2017. More Varsha. 3 years, right? 2.5 years, in fact. There have been 2,000 amendments in GST. Income Tax Act has gone through so much pain since 1961. So many amendments, so many changes, keeps changing. Shortage of personnel. To take care of all this, tax experts are chartered accountants. We are the only it is the only course which teaches about taxes in so much detail in the country. There is no other course in the country which teaches so much about income tax, indirect tax and all that. Only here you study about the taxation laws in depth. IRS is different. IRS, they don't study about taxes alone. They study about everything. But we study about taxes, tax laws, we by heart the section numbers, we look at the case laws, all this in-depth analysis we do, studies we do. IRS is more about quantitative and all that. You know what those guys prepare for competitive exams. That was different. But Income Tax Act and all, we study in detail. GST Act, we study in detail. So ours is the only profession, ours is the only course which studies all this in so much detail. And how many CAs do we have for a country of 1.5 billion people? 3 lakh, somewhere around 3 lakh. Practicing estuadralli, somewhere around 2 lakhs, I guess. Practicing CAs. So what I'm trying to tell you was shortage of personnel. That is why last date of filing returns and all is a pain for it. Most of the practicing CAs, it was difficult to manage things. Shortage of personnel, less people to manage so much. Country so big, that is why it is less. High tax rates. The first 3 points are actually good for you. That's how you make your money. That's how you make a living. That's how chartered accountants earn money. Because it's complicated, people come running to you. If it was easy, why would they come to a CA? If it was all simple and if there were no amendments, no changes, if people could know what is changing and all that on their own, why would they come to a CA? If there were enough people, why would they pay so much amount to you? There would be more competition, lesser fees you would charge. The course wouldn't have been so attractive. Are you getting what I'm saying? So that is why it's because of those first 3 points, you've taken this course. Remember that. So you can't complain with regards to those points. You can't say it's complicated. You can't say there are frequent amendments. Boss, you're getting paid for that. So shut up and study, shut up and learn. That is all. So, but those are the in general, when a layman looks at it, that is his problem. He says it's complicated, yeah. But this is CA, we'll go to him. He's going to charge a lot, but we'll go to him because we have no other option. So many changes here. They keep changing. Last year I calculated it was different. This year, it was calculated. It was different. So we will go to a CA. He will do the calculation. He keeps a tab on this. It's his job. But he's going to charge more. Oh, let him. That's how you are in demand. Okay. So then you have high tax rates. This is nothing to do with us. This is government and people. So tax rates are high in certain cases. If you make more than 5 crore in a year through trading in stock markets, you will have to pay 42% tax. Yes, you will pay 42% tax. That's correct on your profits. Okay, that will be paid on your profits. The profit, whatever you made, sale price minus purchase price. On that, you will pay on your gains. Basically, you will pay 42% tax. It's a lot of money, but that's how it works. 42%. In many countries, they charge more than that. Also, there are some countries which charge 50%, 60% also as taxes. 42% is still comparatively okay. So that is how taxes work. That is why you should not look at taxes as your responsibility. It is for your own good, you have to say, and it is basically to Indian, in Indian context. What we have is proportionating wealth. It's government works like Robin Hood, taking from the rich and giving to the poor. That is what the government says. Robin Hood, right? That's how the government says. We take a lot from the rich and we give it to the poor. So basic infrastructure to the poor, you have the housing facilities, we spend money on all that. So government says it's basically to get everyone in parity. Now there's a lot of difference between people's earning at the top and at the bottom. So we're trying to remove that gap is what the government says. So that is how the government, kind of pitches its idea of high tax rates on more income. So if you're earning 5 crore rupees, you have to contribute to the society. So that's how it. Government is not taking for itself. No, it's going to spend somewhere. And also corruption, right? There is corruption. So in income tax, it's a lot. Income tax department and all, it's there. So that is why they're trying to get in that faceless, assessment and all that. I wish I had a little more time. I could have spoken about all that, but we are running out of time. So there is a lot of things changing even in the income tax department. GST now corruption is pretty less, but there's still some room for corruption. But they have cut down on a lot of things in GST. They made it a little more corruption free compared to the old tax laws. Before, indirect tax laws is tumba room. Now because it's all online, you're directly almost talking to the government. So the room for corruption is much lesser. But there is ineffective protection machinery. Completely agree with this because, as I mentioned, the people who pay, I was talking to someone, we keep getting, I keep talking to people with relation to all this, obviously it's my profession. So, people keep telling that once we start paying taxes, people will trouble us only. They don't take care of people who don't pay taxes. People who are paying taxes, they trouble us. They keep sending notices. They keep sending more compliances. They keep saying, give this, give that, do this, do that. They eat our head only, They don't look after those people who have black money, who stored in Swiss bank accounts and all that. They're not caring, but they're caring about they trouble people who are paying taxes honestly. So this is how general mindset is with regards to people when it comes to government policies and taxation, and it is mostly true. It is almost true because government has database of people who pay taxes, so they keep looking after them only. It's easy, for them also. Instead of tracking Swiss bank accounts and all, people who pay taxes, people who have PAN, who will try to get as much as possible from them. Okay, now coming to this part, role of a chartered accountant and also a student, what are you going to study? I'll talk about this for 10 minutes and then we'll close the session. So far, have you all understood whatever I have been discussing on taxers, introduction? Do you feel there has been some value addition in the last 1 hour, 50 minutes? Yes, wonderful. Okay, if you have any questions, you can post those questions and then I'll talk about this, okay? No questions? Shall I take questions after this? I'll take questions after this then. Okay, if you have any questions, make a note of those and then I'll take it. Okay, the role of a chartered accountant when it comes to taxes in India. The varied roles you play. Mainly what roles we can play is, we can work as consultants. This is one of the most sought out for services, that is consultancy services. They come to us and say, sir, this is what is happening, what should I do, how much income tax I have to pay, or how much GST I have to pay, what is the GST rate applicable to my product, how how to file the returns. So you file the returns for me, we file returns for clients, we file returns. They can do it, but they tell us to do it, we do it for them because we are experts. We do it for many people like that. We file income tax returns, we file GST returns, we talk to the government on behalf of our clients. We tell the government, we put the information, we take their login IDs. Basically how it works is, let's say you want to operate Instagram account, but you don't know how to post and you don't have time to post relevant stuff and nice stuff and all. You don't know how to post on Instagram. You don't know to post stories and all. So you come to me and you give me your login ID, you give me your password and you tell me, sir, you post Instagram post for me. You put pictures for me on Instagram through my account only. My account ID and password I will give you, you put it. So same thing we do with our clients. They, not Instagram, of course, we do it for income tax and GST and customs duty and all that, whatever tax related stuff is there. We work as their representatives. So we will take their credentials and we will operate their GST, their income tax related things. We will register if they want us to register, registration in these portals, return filing, notices will be sent, response to those notices. So that is all consultancy. We can work as consultants. And then tomorrow, if there is any issue, you will have to go and represent your client. Like lawyers, like how lawyers do in the courts. We don't have a power to go and represent them in the courts, but we can go to the income tax authority. So in income tax and GST, there are authorities. So till one level, we can go and represent our clients. We can talk on their behalf. We can debate. We can argue. We can represent our client's stand. We can say this is what the client thinks. So that is known as representations. So you can do this also. This is representations. Then apart from this, you can do some give other services also. This is, for example, you might have to give a letter certification. You might have to say that these guys have paid this much taxes, some certification, some other services also we will have, some roles we will have. This is if you are in practice. If you are in employment, there are different departments in companies. Like for example, you have, if you're in employment, I'm talking about now, you will have something called taxation departments. In taxation, we have different departments. You will have in corporate taxes, you will have, if it's a manufacturing concern and all, they'll have a proper taxation department. And then they will have international taxation, something called as transfer pricing and all. If it's an MNC, they will have international taxation where you will have to look at different countries' taxation systems. So if we are in two countries, US and India, so we will have to read both the laws and see how, because it may so happen that I earn income in India and I might have to end up paying taxes even in the US and India. Both the countries I might have to end up paying taxes. So how to avoid it? There are something called as DTAAs, double tax avoidance agreements between these countries. So double tax avoidance agreements, what to do? It's all technical, very technical stuff. What I have done today is I've introduced you to something, I've introduced you to an ocean, It's like the Arabian Sea. I've taken to you to the Malpe beach and I've just shown you the waves. Boss, this is how it is. And it's very vast. It's Arabian Sea. It's very vast. One life is not enough to study all this. Okay. But now you have to start, you have to enter the ocean, you have to enter the beach, you have to enter little by little. But it's vast, it's deep. You can never, as much as you see, you can keep walking, it will never get over. So that deep it is, but it's fun. I told you this is one of my favorite papers. Okay, taxation. I love this subject. Probably even in when I was teaching accounts, also, if you had asked me, I think you had, which is your favorite subject, I would have told law or taxation. These are the two papers I really enjoy. uh, that is taxation. And yeah, so I was talking about international taxes, corporate taxes. Then of course you have indirect taxes, customs. In all these things, you will have some expertise. You will have some expertise in all of these things. Whichever you like, you can pick. It's very difficult to be expert in all of these things, as I mentioned, because these are all very deep. It's very big. It's huge in its own sense. So it's not easy to be expert in all the stuff, but you can know little of everything. And it is important to know something of everything. But one of the papers or one of the things when you qualify, I'm saying, will be your favorite. You will know which you like. I, in fact, still like income tax and GST, both of it I like. But in income tax, I'm comfortable with the local, the domestic taxation. That is when it comes to the 5 heads of income I mentioned, PGBP, all that is comfortable. Not so much with transfer pricing and international taxation and all that. But you can, I'm comfortable with all other things. And also GST, it's because I teach and I have some exposure with relation to GST. I'm comfortable with that also. But income tax is something else. Income tax is beautiful. Income tax is so old. So it's what, 59 years old, income tax. It's evolved, it's seen so many things in its life, right? 59 years has seen the economy change. You can see it in the law itself. You can see that change in the law. When you read the law, when you read the amendments, it's beautiful. You can see what has happened. The whole history you look at once and come back. It's evolved over time. That's why it's huge. That's why it's big. Because it's 59-year-old. GST isn't so huge right now, but it's complicated in its own way. But because it's just new, it's just 2 years old. So for you, you have an opportunity as students now, have an opportunity, especially in GST. Because GST is just 2 years old. Income tax may be replaced very soon. In another 5-6 years, income tax, in fact, there were rumors that it is going to change in 2016 itself. There were rumors that they're going to get something called as the direct tax code. For now, they have said enough shocks for now. We will keep it for later. So the direct tax code or codes, they wanted to replace both of the Wealth Tax and Income Tax Act in 2016, but they did not do it. So they will get something called as the Direct Tax Code, which will replace the Income Tax Act very soon. But with regards to GST, it is not going to change in few years, for sure. At least next 20-30 years, it won't change. So what is beautiful for you guys is, you can see GST grow in front of your eyes. I could not see income tax grow in front of my eyes, but I can see GST grow in front of my eyes. GST came in 2017. So since 17, since 17, I've been following up with GST, and I can see it now next 30-40 years, I can see GST grow. The same system will be there for the next 20-25 years. We can be potential experts. You also, it's just 2 years old now. You start studying very soon, 2-3 years old. So you start studying very soon. So for you also, you can see it grow. And when you see it deeper, when you see the changes every time they make the changes, and you know the reasons why they're making the changes and all, so you will automatically become experts in those subjects. So there's a lot of scope. Till your career finishes, GST will be the same probably. It won't change. Income tax may change. Income tax is already old. But GST won't change because it's fresh. The baby is just born. It's just 2.5 years old. It's a toddler. But income tax, it's walking with a walking stick probably. It's very old. So that is why, direct taxes, income tax, you will still find it's deep, but it's beautiful. Direct tax is very nice. But GST, you can see it grow in front of your eyes. And when you do that, you can make a lot of money out of that also. As simple as that. So there are a lot of opportunities when it comes to GST because you can be potential experts in that field. So that is why when you're being introduced to GST, when this paper comes and all that, be all attentive and pay attention, ask questions, interact, be very, very involved into this. This is going to be your bread and butter tomorrow. It's going to be your bread and butter. So, give 100% attention to whatever we discuss. So that is the role of a CA in this. Sir, what about inter-syllabus and all? I'll talk in the next class. I think I have 2 more sessions lined up after this. So we will talk about intermediate later on. I'll talk about, how many marks, what marks and all that will be discussed later. So if you have any questions, you can ask questions. Otherwise, you can leave. All right, it's 6 o'clock sharp. If you have any questions, I saw some questions which I did not answer. So I will take those questions. What is an income tax return? Okay. Income tax return, I'll write it. If you have questions, please pose your questions. So the first question is, what is an income tax return? Income tax return is an information that we give to the government. If your income is more than 2.5 lakh rupees, you have to submit this return compulsorily to the government. In that return, what you will mention is, you will mention the source of income. You have 5 sources of income. No? From which source, how much money you made, you will have to mention over there. You will have to mention there are some deductions and all you can claim. So if there are any deductions, you can claim those deductions. You can calculate how much is your taxable income. And on that taxable income, tax rate you have to apply, and you have to calculate what is the tax you have to pay to the government. So basically, it's a calculation information that you give to the government, saying that this is the income I have earned, this is the tax applicable to me, this is how much I am paying taxes to the government. So it's basically an information document that you give to the government. Any questions? Any more questions, please? Why there is huge demand of Indian chartered accountants in the Gulf? It's not just because of taxation knowledge. Taxation knowledge also helps. It's because of accounting knowledge mainly, because taxes are pretty much not there in the Gulf right now. But it's also because of the accounting knowledge, and mainly there is no accounting course as such, expert accounting course in the Gulf. So they recognize Indian CAs as their, for major roles, they recognize Indian CAs. In other countries, they have their own accounting institutes. They have, in US, there is CPAs, in UK, you have those chartered accountants from UK. So they have their own set of CA fraternities over there. Gulf doesn't have it. Pakistan also has a CA institute. So, but Gulf doesn't have it. So that is why Indian CAs are recognized. Indian CA course is one of the best courses in the world. That is why it is recognized in these countries where there is no, course of their own. So they recognize Indian CAs as their CAs because it is one of the best courses. That's why it's difficult also. Any more questions, guys? Why is it called a return? I'm not very sure. It's called a return because giving information to them, I don't know why it is called a return. That's a good question. I'll have to check. Why was wealth tax abolished? Because no one was paying it. It was very difficult to keep a tab on the wealth of people, and people were purposely showing not showing enough income and getting wealth illegally, and it was not being shown properly. Only the rich were paying wealth taxes. Where there was visible wealth, they were paying taxes. Otherwise, they were not paying taxes and all that. And it had become redundant. When the government looks at it, it was a very little small portion, 1% or 0.5%. Administrative cost was more for the government. So the government said, chuck that. We'll concentrate on income tax. We'll concentrate on GST. Any other questions? Done? Are we done? Can I stop the session then? Okay, earlier budget was presented. Okay, yeah. What if any person does not discuss his other income? He could be caught, he could be sent a notice because see, everything is linked through PAN. Your PAN card, if you see who issues the PAN card, task for you. You have a PAN card, right? Take your PAN card out and see who issues that PAN card for you. It was issued by CBDT, not RBI. It was issued by CBDT, the same income tax department. issues you the Central Board of Direct Taxes. The Central Board of Direct Taxes issues you that's the income tax department. The income tax department is issuing the PAN card to you. So whatever transactions you do through the PAN card, that PAN card will be linked to your bank account. So as soon as you do any transaction through the bank, the government will get to know because it's linked to your PAN. And they will cross-check it with the returns you have filed. You have said that your income was this much, so it should match. If it doesn't, then you'll get a notice. The PAN card has to be compulsorily, now your bank account will be defunct if you don't link your PAN card to your bank account. It's because of this one. Sir, how are tax rates decided? On what basis do they decide the tax rates? The tax rate is decided on the basis of generally on the product type. If it's GST, luxury products 28%, normal products 18%, necessity tax free or 5%. It depends on the type of the product and the usage of the product. Income tax rates also like that only. It starts with 5%. If your income is very low, just 5% tax you pay. If it is little higher, 10, 15, 20, 13. So you have a lot of income, 30% tax. Pay taxes. You have no money, so pay taxes. So it will depend. It's progressive system. In India, income tax is progressive. Can you name 0% means there is no tax, 0% GST items. The vegetables you buy, no tax. The whole grams you buy, whole grams, not the processed gram. If it's cut and all, no. Not the in grams also you have different types of grams. No, you have the moong dal. There's whole moong and there is processed moong dal. When you call it dal, it's processed. So moong dal is taxed. Moong is not taxed. So there are different types of taxes. Hundreds, yeah, I don't know the number exactly. I forgot. I knew this. I forgot. Exact, I don't remember. But it's more than 200, 300. Any more questions? Done? Okay. I hope we had a productive discussion. See you in the next session. Bye-bye. It's a very interesting subject, trust me. It's very beautiful. It's nice. Bye-bye. See you in the next session. Bye, guys.